Okay, real quick. Before anything else, I need you to answer this honestly, just in your head. Have you ever walked into your own house and felt like something was wrong before you could even say what it was? Not someone broke in wrong. Smaller than that, a pillow facing the wrong way, a smell you don't recognize, that itch in the back of your brain that goes, wait, something's different here. And you probably did what most of us do. You laughed it off. I'm being paranoid. I'm overthinking it. It's fine. Sarah had that exact feeling, except it wasn't a pillow. It was a toothbrush in her cup. That wasn't hers. Stay with me, because this story is not really about a toothbrush, or even about cheating. It's about something almost all of us have lived through in some smaller, quieter version. And by the end of this, you're going to see it in your own life too. I promise. This has probably happened to you too, just smaller. Before we get into Sarah's story, let's shrink it down for a second, because I don't want you thinking, well, that's a military thing. That's not me. Think about the last time you handed something important to someone and walked away for a while. A group project, your apartment, while a roommate stayed in it, even your job, while you were out on leave. Now think about coming back, and something had shifted. Nobody asked you. Nobody warned you. It just changed. And you were left standing there thinking, wait, do I even still belong here? That little gut punch? That's the same wiring as what happened to Sarah. Hers was just turned up to a volume most of us, thankfully, will never have to feel. So let's get into it. The story. We'll call her Sarah. Could be your name, could be your sister's, could be someone sitting 3 feet from you right now and you'd never know. Sarah married young. Married the guy everyone said was one of the good ones. Mark was steady, funny in that dry, under-the-breath way. The kind of man who remembered how you took your coffee after hearing it exactly once. They built a normal, unglamorous, genuinely good life. A mortgage they were proud of. A dog that slept across the bed. Furniture they'd argued over and picked out together, piece by piece, over years, not all at once. Then Sarah got deployed. 9 months, overseas. The kind of assignment where just call me isn't really a thing. Before she left, she did something completely responsible, something any smart adult would do. She gave Mark power of attorney, just in case a bill needed paying, a pipe needed fixing, something needed a signature while she was gone. It's such a boring, sensible decision, which is exactly what makes what happened next so brutal. This wasn't a break-in. There was no stranger, no forced door. It was permission, handed over in good faith, to the one person she trusted with everything. 5 months in, a friend sent her a photo, not to hurt her, to check if she already knew. It was Mark's Instagram. A tan hand, not Sarah's, resting on the kitchen counter. The counter Sarah had picked the tile for herself, standing in the showroom for 45 minutes deciding between 2 shades of gray that looked, to Mark, exactly the same. And here's the part I need you to notice, because it's the part that happens to almost everyone in this position. Sarah didn't spiral. She didn't panic. She explained it away. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's his sister. Maybe I'm turning a hand on a counter into a crime scene because I'm lonely and far from home. She called him. He was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that sounds rehearsed, like a line read one too many times. He told her it was nothing. And she let it go. Not because she was stupid, because believing him was so much easier than the alternative. Trust isn't a decision you make once, it's one you keep making, over and over, even when a small voice in the back of your head is quietly tugging your sleeve. 4 months later, she came home. Here's where I need you to slow down with me. Because this isn't a screaming match. There's no thrown vase, no dramatic slammed door. It's quieter than that. And honestly, worse. She walked into her own house, the one she'd paid into from the other side of the planet, and there was a woman's coat hanging on her hook. Her hook. The one that had held her coat since the day they moved in. Candles she'd never bought, a different shampoo bottle in her shower, and when she opened her closet, the one she'd deliberately left half full, because she was coming back. Remember, half her clothes were just gone, boxed, replaced. Mark hadn't just cheated on her. He had used her trust, her paperwork, and her absence to quietly relocate her out of her own life. Not evict her, that would have meant a conversation. A confrontation. Some tiny shred of honesty. Instead, he let 9 months of silence do the dirty work he didn't have the spine to do himself. Why this isn't really about cheating. Here's the thing that makes this story land so hard. Even for people who've never worn a uniform in their life, this was never really a cheating story. Cheating is just the headline. The real story is what happens when someone realizes they can rewrite your whole life faster than you can catch them doing it. There's a concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. Basically, the discomfort we feel when our actions don't line up with how we see ourselves. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Mark almost certainly didn't wake up one morning and think, today, I erase my wife from her own home. Nobody thinks that. That's not how people become villains. It's smaller than that, sadder than that. One visit turns into 2. One overnight bag turns into a drawer turns into a shelf. Each step small enough to justify, until one day the total adds up to something he never would have agreed to if you'd shown him the whole picture at once. Betrayal, almost always, is not one decision. It's 100 small ones, each one a little easier than the last, because the person doing it is managing their own guilt in tiny, bearable doses. The psychology nobody talks about. Here's a pattern worth knowing, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The less someone is physically present to witness their own boundaries getting crossed, the easier it becomes for someone else to cross them. It's the same reason people say cruel things in a text they'd never say to your face. Distance doesn't just create opportunity. It lowers the emotional cost for the person doing the betraying. Mark never had to look Sarah in the eye while any of this happened. He got to do it in installments, with no one's reaction in the room to remind him what it actually meant. And here's why it cuts this deep. We don't just bond to people, we bond to space. Your home isn't square footage. It's 1,000 tiny choices that all say, this is who I am. So when someone quietly edits that space without you, it doesn't just feel like betrayal. It feels like being erased from your own story while you're still alive to read it. You felt this too, even if nobody cheated on you. You don't need a deployment to know this feeling. Ever had a friend group you were deep in, and then you moved cities, and slowly, with no single dramatic moment, you just stopped being invited? No one told you the friendship ended. It just quietly filled in the space where you used to be. Or a job. You go on leave, medical, maternity, whatever, and you come back to find your projects handed off. Your desk moved, your role restructured. Nobody fired you. They just poured into the space you left the second you left it. Same mechanism, different volume. Absence creates a vacuum, and someone or something always rushes in to fill it. You can't control that part. The part underneath the anger. Now here's where I want to be honest with you instead of just comforting, because you deserve honest. Most people, hearing a story like this, go straight to anger. And that anger is earned. I'm not telling you to skip it, but underneath it, for almost everyone in Sarah's position, sits something quieter, something harder to say out loud. Shame. Not because she did anything wrong. She didn't. But betrayal has this cruel side effect. It puts your own judgment on trial. How did I not see it? What does it say about me that I trusted him? Was I an idiot? I need you to hear this clearly, because it's the part people almost never say. Your trust was never the problem. Trust isn't naivety. Trust is the entry fee for any relationship worth having. Sarah's mistake was never trusting her husband with power of attorney and half a closet. His choice, entirely his, made entirely alone, was deciding to use that trust instead of honoring it. You don't get to rewrite whose fault that was. Not even shame gets to rewrite that. What almost everyone gets wrong here. The biggest misunderstanding I see, over and over, people think the goal, after something like this, is to get back to who they were before. Back to normal. Here's the problem. That person doesn't exist anymore. Not because she's broken. Because she knows things now the old her didn't. About people. About vigilance. About how fragile even the sturdiest looking things can be. The goal was never to go back. It's to build forward, as someone who now knows exactly what she needs from a life. A home. A partner. That she didn't fully know before. Okay, so what do you actually do? If some version of this has happened to you, smaller, different, but that same gut drop of coming back to find your place quietly reassigned, here's what actually helps. No fluff. No just heal. Babe. 1. Document before you react. Not for revenge. For clarity. Write down what you find. What you're told. What shifts. Betrayal loves confusion. A clear record, even just notes on your phone, keeps you anchored to facts instead of someone else's rewritten version of the story. 2. Separate the practical from the emotional. They move at different speeds, and that's fine. The locks, the accounts, the lawyer, that's logistics, and logistics can move fast. The grief, the anger, the shame, that's human, and it will not be rushed. Don't punish yourself because one is faster than the other. 3. Rebuild the physical space, even in tiny ways, as soon as you can. Repaint a wall, move the couch, change what hangs on that hook by the door. You're not erasing what happened. You're putting your signature back on your own life, on purpose, instead of leaving it in the shape someone else left it. 4. The one people resist most. Let anger do a job, just not steer the car. Anger is what gets you to change the locks. Call the lawyer, pack the bag, let it do that. But don't hand it the next 5 years of your life. Anger is a phenomenal starter engine. It is a terrible long-term driver. What Sarah finally understood. Months later, standing in a house that finally felt like hers again, Sarah realized something that had nothing to do with Mark at all. The worst part wasn't that he replaced her. It's that, for a while, she let his calm voice, his "you're imagining things," replace her own instincts. The rebuild didn't actually start the day she changed the locks. It started the moment she trusted her own perception again, over his. That's the exact second the power quietly moved back into her hands. Before we close, if you take one thing from this, please don't let it be never trust anyone again. That doesn't make you strong. It just makes you smaller. Take this instead. Trust people. Fully, but never, ever hand over your own perception just to keep the peace. The second something feels off, you're allowed to take that seriously. Not paranoid, not dramatic. Just awake. A small story to carry with you. There's an old idea about a gardener who leaves for a season. While she's gone, someone plants something in her garden that was never hers to plant, something that will choke out everything she grew with her own 2 hands. When she comes home, she has 2 choices. She can spend the rest of her life mourning the shape the garden used to be. Or she can kneel down, pull out everything that doesn't belong, and replant it herself, knowing this second garden, chosen with clear eyes, will mean more to her than the first one ever did. Because this time, she knows exactly what she's growing, and exactly why. Your challenge this week. Find one space in your life, physical or not, that got quietly rearranged by someone else's choices while you weren't watching closely enough. And take one piece of it back. Just one. A drawer. A routine. A boundary. A room. Put your signature on it, on purpose. Today, not someday. One last thing. We spend our whole lives quietly building things: trust, homes, routines, people, assuming they'll hold their shape whether we're watching or not. And most of the time, they do. But every so often, life shows us the truth. Some things only hold their shape because we're the ones holding them. That's not a reason to stop building. It's a reason to build with your eyes open, knowing trust isn't something you hand over once and forget about. It's something you keep choosing, with people who keep earning it. And when someone breaks that choice, the answer was never to stop building. It was always to build again, smarter, clearer, entirely on your own terms. You are allowed to come home to yourself, even when someone else tried to move you out. If you made it this far, that says something about you. You didn't just watch a sad story, you sat with it, and you're walking away stronger for it. That's rare. If this helped you feel seen, hit like, subscribe, and send it to someone who needs to hear it today. Your rebuild starts now. I'll see you in the next one.